Just put 27 shots through this rascal using Swiss 3F powder. So now it's time to go home and clean it up. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's talk about it. I'll show you the tools that you need first to get started. What you will need is a screwdriver to fit your screws. Be sure that's the correct one. A little bottle of oil. I use 10W30 motor oil, and I'll explain that in a little bit. A nipple wrench, a tube of never sees, a few patches, and get a decent range rod that's probably 6 inches longer than your barrel is. Or a good ramrod will work also. Get your screwdriver, and in this case, this particular firearm has 2 screws holding the lock in. Some of them only has 1, like the Lyman's Gray Plain Rifle does. And set the screws over here on the thing so they won't get lost on the lid. And take the lock off, and we'll come back to that in just a few minutes. To get the rest of the firearm apart, take the ramrod out, and this one was a wedge to gun, so just put a little screwdriver there and knock the wedge right out of it. Put that with the rest of the parts, and the gun just pulls apart just like that. So with the barrel already out, the nipple wrench is what you'll need next, and I always take the nipple out of the bolster, and I'll show you why in just a few minutes. Always put the parts on here that's stuck in the nipple wrench. That'll work anyway. So this barrel is ready to be cleaned. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can try doing this job, and you can take from it whatever you like to do to make it work for you. Take a little bit of dish soap and whoop, right down in there. Like a madman in a scientist factory, right? Stick your barrel down there so that there's about 3 inches of water in the bottom of the bucket. You can put a patch over there and get your cleaning rod, go all the way down, and you can just rub it up and down. Now the only thing I got against this is the fact that when you pull it back up, the hole sucks the old nasty water back up in the barrel. So you're actually kind of cleaning it with dirty water, for lack of better words. But this method may work for you. Now let's try a different method, see if you like that one any better. If your wife will let you, you can always take the barrel in the shower with you. This is the method I prefer cleaning these barrels that are wedged you can get out. Is I put it right here into the water hose. As you can see from looking at the bottom of it, it's running out of that bolster pretty clean. But even if it comes out black, you put the water in there, put a patch on the end of it with a jag, and I always kind of put some more water down there with it and just clean it right out. You can tell that is a very clean patch for no more than I've done this. Maybe 5 or 6 swabs have been it. Once you get it cleaned out, just take an old rag, clean that rascal up, or dry it off more than anything. And I'll throw the old rag down on the ground, and you run a dry patch down the barrel to get all any kind of water that's still down in there out of that barrel. Yeah, it's pretty clean. That's not too bad. It's about as clean this gun's ever going to get. It's a 30-year-old gun, and I don't know if it cleaned well before I got it or not, but I cleaned it the best I can now and go back to shooting. Oh, that's not good. The patch just fell off down in there. So, a good teachable moment. I'll show you how to get the patch out. Kind of a teachable moment here, my friends. Can't believe I did this. You can take the jag off the end of your ramrod and push a special little ball patch puller that I built from a brush a few years ago. If you want to see how I did that, look up here in the corner and I'll show you a link to how I did this. This is why it comes in handy. Screw this all the way on, tighten this up so it will not come off down in the barrel. You don't want that to happen. Once you get that patch puller on there, stick it right down in the old barrel and twist it a few times and you'll pull that bad boy right out of there. Cha-ching! And of course, let's get the jag back on there now. All part of the fun, my friends. It's all part of the fun. Now my next move is to put not number 9 hops oil on here. I have this with fresh 10W30 motor oil. I figure that if it works in engines running at 3,500 RPMs, it ought to work on low lock. So we'll get a little bit of oil on the end of that patch and get it wet all the way to the bottom. See if I can get that patch come back out this time. Oh yeah, that's better. And just put it back together. Very simple to do. There's a breech plug hook right into the gun. Let's set down there as such. Has any of you that has wedge guns ever lost one while in the field? It just slips out on the ground? I'm going to show you a little tip on how to keep those in your gun so you won't lose them anymore. In order to not lose them, you could take a bolt or a piece of pipe and you lay it right on the middle of that and give that a little tap. Now I'm not going to tap it hard because I've already done mine that way, but if you bend this little wedge thing downward a little bit, so when the wedge goes in, when you put the gun back together, it stays tight and you won't lose it. Remember the wedge we were talking about a while ago? Just send it right down in there and give it a little tap with the back end of the screwdriver. That's in there good and tight. A little bit of never sees. This little tube I bought probably 5 years ago from a Napa store, I think, and it takes just a little bit. Put back on the threads of your nipple all the way around it. Now it comes out of the thing now. All the way around it and stick it back in the threads of the bolster. Be sure you do not cross thread it. That would not be a good day. You don't have to crimp them too tight, just a little bit, and wipe off any of the never sees that might be around it. This way, when you go to take it out the next time, it will actually come out. Now let's get on to the lock. I used to dip these in a lot of water years ago, but I found out you don't need to do that. I'll just basically put a little bit of a damp cloth on it. Now, clean it all up, especially right in here where the powder would be. I'll get it in full cock. Clean it there again. Apply the dry patch to it. Get the thing totally dry. Or you can also take them in the house and lay them under a hair dryer for about 20 or 30 seconds, and that will clean them up and dry them off in a hurry. Give a little squirt of that 10W30 oil, just a little drop here and there where all moving parts are, and put it back on the gun. Get that rag that you had a little bit of that oil still on, wipe down the old barrel, and there you go. Usually less than 5 to 7 minutes, this percussion gun is cleaned and ready to be put away until the next time. It doesn't get any easier than that. No excuse not to get into the black powder hobby just because you have to clean the rifles. Very easy to do with these type of wedge firearms. Thanks for watching, and remember, Jesus does love you. And we'll catch you on the next adventure, and usually involving some of these.
Mark, have you been in the shower with that black powder gun again? You know I don't like to have to clean up that mess. You get in here and clean up that mess. This is ridiculous.
We'll see you next time, if I'm alive.